Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. Losses are extreme with narcissistic abuse. Loss of health, life force, resources, prosperity, and the energy, inspiration, hope to go forward and generate a new future. I know how devastating this is, and I promise you, I've been there on all of these levels. However, I want you to know that there is a way to rebuild your life after narcissistic abuse. Myself and so many others in this Thriver community have achieved this spectacularly, against all odds and even despite so-called unhealable medical diagnoses. By watching this video, hopefully I can inspire you to know that there is a wonderful life available for you after narcissistic abuse, no matter how much you have lost. Today, we are going to look deeply at the different losses and how you can rebuild from them. But before we do, I'd like to thank all of you who've supported the Thriver mission by subscribing to my channel. And if you haven't yet, please do. Also, make sure that you hit the like button, and if you enjoy this video, share with others who you know it can help. Okay, so on to this episode. Let's have a look at loss of self. After narcissistic abuse, it is usual to feel like you've lost your life force and your well-being. You may even believe your life is over and can't imagine what it would feel like to be normal or healthy again. Of course, initially we want things to change in our circumstances, such as the narcissist to be held accountable, or for some good fortune to turn everything around, or even a wonderful person to come into our life to pick us up and save us from all of this trauma and devastation. Maybe you just want to wake up from the nightmare that has become your life. But the truth is, no one is coming. And your inner being, which is the foundational basis of your entire life, is waiting for you to turn inwards and be your own rescuer. And of course, initially you feel like you don't have the health, sanity, or inner resources to save yourself. Yet the total irony is we can't recover and rebuild ourselves until we do turn inwards with the intention to be our own savior. Self-partnering is vital. In fact, it's crucial. And the reason it is because it puts you back inside your body. You may think that the anxiety, depression, and trauma is as a result of what has happened to you. Yes, it is. However, it is continuing and not being resolved if you don't turn inwards to meet these conditions and heal yourself back to wholeness. That is exactly what self-partnering is about, and it's the very first essential step of Thrive Recovery. In fact, it's what the NARP program is all about. Learning how to turn inwards to find, load up, and release all of the trauma that is generating your trauma and abuse symptoms, and replacing this with your highest source, which creates the shift to heal you. This process can't happen without self-partnering. As a result of self-partnering, you will organically start shifting into the knowing that you are lovable and worthy, and as an adult, capable of generating your own security and survival. And this is when the prior abuse trauma from the narcissist and the narcissist's attempts to derail you and terrorize you will all melt away. I promise you that these capacities don't come from outside of you. They need to be healed up from inside of you. By doing so, you will evolve beyond the fractures, trauma, and anxiety of having handed your power away to abusive people who do not have your best interests at heart. Let's look at loss of people. Inevitably, as a result of narcissistic abuse, relationships in your life may get smashed to pieces. It's horrifying how narcissists have the ability to smear you, discredit you, and turn people in your life against you. You may have lost family members, friends, associates, and maybe even been alienated from your own children. I know that this is beyond cruel, and my heart goes out to you if you've experienced these dreadful things. And I really want to inspire you to know that staying stuck in the terrible trauma and victimization will only mean that these circumstances can't shift in your life. It is completely understandable why you would be stuck in these feelings, and I totally validate you in that place, but there is a much more effective solution and way to deal with this. With myself and so many other people who I've helped achieve true healing with NARP, we discovered that when we released the trauma of these terrible injustices, smearing and alienation that we suffered, our inner being shifted. And then the outer started to shift to match this. This is how powerful we are. We are quantum creators from the inside out. People come back. The narcissist gets caught out. Loved ones return. All sorts of miracles happen. I promise you this with all my heart. There are numerous people in this community who've been reunited with people and their children who they were alienated from, some for decades, as a result of letting go of all of the pain, resentment, and heartbreak with NARP modules. The complete and utter irony is, when you're at peace and only feel love in your heart without pain, regardless of your outer circumstances, that's when the outer circumstances powerfully shift. This is the secret to changing our life, including our most important relationships. When we use quantum tools to achieve this, it becomes powerfully possible. Let's have a look at health losses. So many of us have been devastated by terrible health conditions as a result of narcissistic abuse. Trauma creates this. Eventually, not just your emotions break down, but also your physical being. I know so many people, myself included, who were given shocking diagnoses as a result of breakdowns of narcissistic abuse. So many of us were told that our emotional, adrenal, or mental breakdowns, as well as PTSD, fibromyalgia, adrenal malfunctions, and nervous system disorders such as agoraphobia, could never be truly healed. And at best, we could only hope to manage them with medication and strategies. This is not true recovery. This is simply trying to exist with the trauma-generated symptoms of abuse still active within you. Now, myself and so many others know that there is a true recovery solution for our abuse symptoms, namely releasing the trauma from within your inner being that is generating these symptoms. When you do this, you allow well-being to enter the space where the disease once was, and you have the ultimate potential to get well. Maybe even more well than you've been in your entire life, even before abuse. This is the resurrection that is totally possible for you, truly. Myself and so many others have achieved this fully. We no longer suffer any narcissistic abuse trauma symptoms. All right, let's check out financial losses. A big part of narcissistic abuse is financial abuse. It's a widespread devastation in this community. So many people ask, how do I get over the financial abuse? How can I leave when I'm financially dependent on the narcissist? And how will I ever rebuild my life again? Financial abuse can be a dreadful injury in our life. And I promise you, it was initially a massive challenge for me. Originally, I just wanted to somehow get off the ground and rebuild what I lost. But the more I tried to do that without facing my inner healing, the more powerless I felt. I just didn't have what it took to get up and get going again, and I wasn't meant to. Because the time had come where I needed to deeply investigate and heal the reasons why I had suffered such financial abuse at the hand of abusers. Something incredible happened when I started to clean that up. I felt relief. I felt wholeness inside that was no longer reliant on me having to have a certain thing or be a certain way. It was just an organic peace. And from that place, with newly formed and anchored in belief systems regarding my ability to be a generator of prosperity with all of the healthy components of life, I started to blossom. I was able to start actualizing a rebuild from complete and total financial devastation. Solutions and assistance came. Support came. Opportunities and synchronicity and even miracles started entering my life, granting me the abundance that I was already feeling in regard to loving and accepting myself unconditionally, regardless of what I did or didn't have in my life. I have seen so many thrivers in this community rebuild their lives financially after narcissistic abuse as a result of releasing and healing their internal financial traumas with NARP. Many of these people were in midlife or beyond. Some of them had not worked for decades and were even left with zero finances or shocking debt as a result of the abuse. Yet they were able to come back in ways and time frames that were astounding once the trauma was released and life force in abundance was able to flow through them as them. And I know as a result of deeply working on your inner being with my quantum tools in NARP, that you will have exactly the same opportunity to turn it all around. Let's look at how our losses are deeply interconnected. I completely and utterly believe that a relationship with self, health, others, and finances is all deeply interconnected. To holistically become healthy, whole, self-generative, and flourished and nourished by life force itself, as well as being able to abundantly expand and express our mission and purpose on this planet, all of these areas of our life require our inner attention. These are the 4 areas that we commonly experience grave loss in as a result of narcissistic abuse. And the good news is that we can directly address them to heal them beyond description. You see, there is an incredible radical compensation that occurs after narcissistic abuse when we turn inwards, claim and activate the healing of self. What wasn't right resets to become healthier than we could ever imagine in our wildest dreams. That is the Thriver way. And I can't wait for this to be your Thriver reality as well. If this is what you want for you, take the stand with me by pausing this video and writing below, "It is my time to reclaim myself, soul, and life." Write it below. Okay, so now you can check out my NARP program that will activate deep healing for you by clicking the link at the top right of this video. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love you to please do, so that you're going to be notified about each new episode when it's released. And please also share this video with the people you know who have experienced terrible loss as a result of narcissistic abuse, the people you know who need hope and solution. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. And as always, I look forward to answering your comments and your questions below. So keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. And please make sure you check out NARP. Lots of love. Bye-bye.